Hey guys, Level Cap here, and getting 25 limpet kills is not necessarily the easiest task in Battlefield 1, but you're going to have to get 25 of them if you want to unlock the second tier level 10 weapon for the support class. 4 of these new level 10 weapon requirements came out in the last major patch for Battlefield 1, and their unlock requirements have been pretty big to say the least. In fact, one of the requirements for this unlock is to get 300 kills with the Huot low-weight machine gun, which is not that hard to do, especially in comparison to the 25 limpet kills. I had 300 kills with the LMG way before I had 25 limpet kills. I made the mistake of thinking that over the course of 300 kills with the LMG, I would have plenty of opportunities to blow up tanks and get multiple kills with my limpet charge. The problem is that I suck a lot of limpet mines to tanks, but didn't end up getting the final kill on them. I would disable them, maybe a teammate would take them out, or they were able to repair or kill me. So I was doing plenty of damage with the limpet mines, but just wasn't able to get that many kills with them, especially when going after armor. It would have made a lot more sense had the assignment been do 2,000 points of damage to armored targets with a limpet charge, but unfortunately it was about getting kills, and the easiest way for getting kills with the limpet charge is to go into TDM style game modes and chuck them all over the place until you end up getting kills. It ended up being a lot of stupid gameplay, dumb moments where I could have easily killed my opponent, but instead was throwing limpet charges at them, hoping those would go off and get the kill instead. Now, annoying assignments aside, once I had the Huot Optical unlocked, I was pretty excited to use this weapon because the stats indicate that it should be a pretty accurate machine gun. And from my limited time using this variant during the CTE, I thought it was going to be one of my favorite new level 10 weapon variants. I thought it was going to be a new accurate LMG powerhouse, exhibit assault rifle like mechanics to it, but unfortunately there's just some components to this weapon that hold it back from being what I think maybe the developers wanted it to be. I mean, to say it bluntly, this is a poorly balanced weapon and offers no real incentive to use it over the base variation of the Huot Automatic. Taking a look at the Simthic.com stats, we can see that this machine gun doesn't have a whole lot to work with here. It's got a 475 round per minute rate of fire, making it one of the slowest firing machine guns in the game. It's only got a 23 maximum damage, which is standard for LMGs for whatever reason. They do so little damage with such a large caliber round. And then on top of that, it's only got a 26 round capacity drum style magazine with a somewhat long reload of 2.8 seconds for the short and 4.25 for the long reload. So there's not a lot going for this weapon in terms of just ammo, rate of fire, damage per second. So you'd think that it would just make up for it in the accuracy department like crazy, right? Well, the aiming down sight accuracy is actually phenomenal. 0.135 base spread for a machine gun makes this one of the most accurate first shot machine guns in the game. Unfortunately, at 23 maximum damage, that first shot doesn't account for a lot. It's really the follow-up shots that are going to down your target. And that's where the Huot Automatic Optical really fails in comparison to the other LMGs out there. Now, if you're not familiar with the basic spread mechanics of LMGs, it's pretty straightforward. The first shot is the most accurate. Then after that first shot, you have a very big spread increase. So your second shot is technically going to be the least accurate shot. And after that, your shots are going to get more and more accurate the longer you hold down that automatic fire. This little bullet spread plot from Simthic.com illustrates that point with the Huot Automatic Optical. The little green circle is your first shot, pretty darn accurate. The yellow circle is your second shot, the least accurate, and then orange is like the third shot, and red becomes fourth shot and fifth shot, and so on and so forth. You can see how the shots are getting more and more accurate. They're going upwards because that's the direction of the recoil of the weapon. So if you weren't compensating for the recoil at all, your shots would start to pull slightly upward, but you can compensate for that with your mouse or controller. Now, if we pull up the basic spread plot for the Huot Automatic Lightweight next to it, you can see that the first shot, the little green circle, is not quite as accurate as the Huot Automatic Optical. However, the subsequent circles shrink faster, and that's because it has faster spread recovery than the Huot Automatic Optical. Now, because this gun does so little damage, 23 per shot, which drops off at range even further, the first shot accuracy in my book just isn't as important as the follow-up shot accuracy. You're going to have to shoot your opponent 5 to 6 times, even more if they're at extreme ranges, to take him out. So you have to be thinking about the 4th, 5th, and even 6th shot with this weapon. Now what do you want? A gun that's going to be super accurate with its first shot but less accurate with its follow-up shots? Or something that's not insanely accurate with its first shot but accurate enough and then gets more and more accurate with its follow-up shots? Hopefully you're catching my drift here and understanding that the correct answer is the weapon with the more accurate follow-up shots. It's ultimately going to give you a faster time to kill, provided that you have the accuracy to back it up. Now the Huot Optical does come with the obvious benefit over the standard one, and that is that it has an actual optic on it. You can put a nice little red dot or a cross on this weapon, whatever your preferred aiming optic, and I do prefer the optics on this one over the lightweight variant. The problem, of course, with the optical weapons in this game is that they actually aim down sight even slower than the iron sight variant. So if your goal is to acquire your target as quickly as possible and put down accurate fire as quickly as possible, then again, the low weight version of this weapon is still superior. So it's just got too many things going against it. Not to mention, let's be honest, the Huot weapon in general just isn't that competitive against the other LMGs. So coming out with another variation of the Huot Automatic that's even worse than the base variation is just saying like, alright, here's another level 10 variant that's going to take a long time to unlock, a lot of work to unlock, and it's going to be pretty much worse than the original variant. Considering the amount of work that goes into unlocking this weapon, I would have expected a little bit more out of it. I'm not expecting something overpowered, but taking a look at maybe some of the movement spread on this weapon or just general accuracy, turning it into something that feels a little bit more like the assault rifle of LMGs would make a lot of sense. Again, giving its limited ammo capacity, its slow rate of fire, and slow reload, you gotta give this weapon great accuracy, maybe even good moving accuracy, and that would make it a more interesting weapon to use in general. There's a bit of competition in the LMG world. There's a lot of good ones out there. The BAR is an incredibly effective weapon. It's hard to beat that in close quarters. Then you have got stuff like the M1909 for long range, very difficult to beat that. And then for medium range, you've got stuff like the Madsen or the Lewis, which in my book just kind of outperform this one in terms of damage per second. Even if you're sacrificing a little bit of accuracy with those weapons, the increased rate of fire and magazine capacity more than make up for it. So there just isn't really a niche carved out for this weapon just yet. And it is very apparent when you look at the stats of all the weapons on Simthic that they are trying to carve out a niche for each weapon in Battlefield 1. The Huot just doesn't really have its niche yet, or it has a niche, but nobody wants that niche, if that makes any sense. Now, I do believe DICE is trying to make this sort of the assault rifle of LMGs. They need to push it a little bit further. One cool thing or a little bit of history about this weapon is that it's actually a conversion of a bolt-action rifle. That's why you might notice some of the weird looking visual qualities of this weapon. Underneath it is just a bolt-action rifle body with a like metal frame sort of attached on top and a barrel cooler applied that was sort of borrowed from the Lewis machine gun. So in a sense, it really is a rifle converted into a machine gun. It should be sort of like an assault rifle in that way, so it'd be cool to balance it in that way. I always like the history behind some of the weapons in Battlefield 1 because they're much more interesting. Most weapons were sort of like prototypes of their time, or the first popular weapons were like almost always the first weapons of their own classification. It's just a cool time for weapon development in a way. Anyway, that does kind of wrap it up for this review of the weapon. Unfortunately, if you agree with my opinion, then you might not be interested in unlocking this weapon in the first place, since it is a considerable amount of work. You might just want to do it naturally, and eventually you might unlock it on your own. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.